During World War II, a secret unit saved over 30,000 American lives, using nothing but rubber tanks, sound effects, and pure deception. This is the story of the Ghost Army, the most creative con job in military history. 1944. The Allies were pushing into Nazi-occupied Europe, but they had a problem. Hitler's forces outnumbered them, and every real soldier was precious. So the U.S. Army created the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops. Their mission? Make the enemy think American forces were everywhere, when they were actually somewhere else entirely. The Ghost Army wasn't made of typical soldiers. The U.S. military recruited artists, designers, actors, and sound engineers from Hollywood and art schools, fashion designers, painters, radio technicians, and they armed them with the strangest weapons of war, inflatable tanks that weighed just 60 pounds, fake artillery made of rubber, dummy airplanes constructed from wood and canvas. But the real genius? Sound. They recorded actual tank battalions, artillery fire, and troop movements onto records. Then they blast these recordings from massive speakers mounted on trucks, creating the audio illusion of an entire division moving into position. Between 1944 and 1945, the Ghost Army conducted over 20 battlefield deceptions across France, Luxembourg, and Germany. Their largest operation? Operation Viersen. The real Ninth Army was preparing to cross the Rhine River, one of the most dangerous operations of the war. The Ghost Army's job was to make the Germans think the attack would come from somewhere else entirely. So while the real soldiers moved into position 15 miles south, the Ghost Army created a phantom army at the original location. They inflated hundreds of fake tanks. They drove around in circles to create fake tank tracks in the mud. They set up dummy radio communications, broadcasting fake messages they knew the Germans would intercept. They even sent soldiers into local towns wearing the patches of units that were actually miles away, deliberately chatting in bars about their positions. The deception was so convincing that German forces concentrated their defenses at the fake location. When the real Ninth Army crossed the Rhine, they met far less resistance than expected. The operation was a stunning success. But here's the tragic part. The Ghost Army's missions were so classified that even after the war ended, these men couldn't tell anyone what they'd done. Not their families, not their friends. The official records remained sealed for over 40 years. Artists who had helped save thousands of lives went back to civilian jobs, carrying secrets they could never share. It wasn't until 1996, more than 50 years after D-Day, that the U.S. government finally declassified the Ghost Army's operations. Many of the original members had already died, never receiving public recognition for their extraordinary service. The Ghost Army's legacy changed warfare forever. They proved that in war, perception can be as powerful as firepower. Modern military deception tactics, from dummy installations to electronic warfare, all trace their roots back to these artists and their inflatable tanks. In 2022, nearly 80 years after their first mission, the Ghost Army was finally awarded the Congressional Gold Medal, one of America's highest civilian honors. Of the original 1,100 members, only a handful were still alive to receive it. These men didn't fire a single shot in anger. But through creativity, courage, and deception, they saved an estimated 15,000 to 30,000 Allied lives. The Ghost Army proved that sometimes the greatest weapon isn't steel or explosives. It's imagination. These artists turned the battlefield into a stage, and their performance saved thousands of lives. What other untold stories from history are hiding in plain sight? Let me know in the comments which war story you want to hear next. And if you found this as mind-blowing as I did, hit that subscribe button, because history is full of secrets waiting to be uncovered.